Hello again, everyone, and welcome to round number 2 of Season 7 of the Midwest F1 League, and it's taking place at the Hungaroring for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Division 1 of the Midwest F1 League looks to take on this 14-corner, 4.3-kilometer circuit. It's two DRS zones here, first heading down the pit straight, and then immediately out of Turn 1 as the grid heads down into the rest of the winding downhill section. That is Sector 1, with an average lap speed of only just 120 miles an hour. Definitely expect some thrills and spills tonight. And I tell you what, very excited, Hotspot here, back on the call for Division 1. It's been a little while since I've done this. I think the last Division 1 race I did was the sprint last season at both Saudi Arabia and China. So it's been a little while. If you're watching, Mother, happy birthday. Had to get that one out real quick. But I tell you what, a lot of people haven't necessarily been fans of how this game works or how it handles. I tell you what, from a driver's perspective, I have really, really loved how this track is played in this new game. It feels so much more flowy. It feels like you're able to actually control the car, rather than just be at the mercy of how your setup actually handles you, really. That's the biggest thing. It's now simply, you're able to get around the circuit so much better. I tell you what, I love it. I love this track now. I've hated this track for so long, but as it turns out, this track on this new game is just so much more playable, in my opinion. I know that I was using good old Matt Rosie's setup, the Red Bull driver of Matt Rosie. I was using his setup, as typically that's who you'll find P1 on the time trial charts, so I was going with his, and it's absolutely wonderful. Scavany's going to be our first out on track for the Aston Martin team. Speaking of Aston Martin, Sebastian Vettel announced his retirement today, Thursday, July the 28th, 2022, from Formula 1 at the end of the 2022 season. So I think it would be a bit climactic, shall we say, if Aston Martin is to win this race here today. Scavany's going to be first out on track. I believe Majako is behind him. Yes, he is. No, there's actually an AlphaTauri in there. That's Mitch Burns in behind. Looks like Jay Cast has also joined the session. He will be partaking in today's festivities here at the Hungaroring. Scavany out on track first. Going to be looking to put in the best lap that he can. I don't know if there's any weather in the area or not, but I tell you what, if the tire strategies are anything like last season, I don't quite think it's going to matter what tire you qualify on. In fact, it just doesn't anymore now that the rules apply for being able to use a different set of tires to start the race with than you actually did qualifying with. So we'll go along with Scavany here for this opening lap. If you've missed it, Will Ann's or Secret Agent Randy Beans has been going on too many Secret Agent missions, and he's had to withdraw from full-time competition. So with that in mind, Scavany on his out lap here, now starting his timed lap. Across the line he goes, down towards turn number 1. The braking is much stronger in this year's game, so 8 to 2nd is now no longer that bit of a struggle, actually, and you're able to keep it way more towards the inside of the corner than you previously would. DRS has been enabled. Down the hill into turn 2, from 7th down to 2nd, really hugs the apex of the corner, upshifts early. Now through turn 3, this was a tough one in last year's game, quite easy now. Back up the hill through turn 4. Now this one downshift and smoothly across it, just like that. That was such a killer corner in the last couple of games. It's very tricky to take. Turn 5, really smooth right-handed corner into the worst chicane in Formula 1, if you ask me. Turn 6 and 7. Oh, and he's lost it then. And Scavany will suddenly agree with my hypothesis that chicane is just quite terrible. We'll pick it back up with Mitch Burns here as he makes his way through Sector 2 now. He's going through downhill. This is turn 10. Nice and easy here. Downshift once or stay through 6th, whatever you are. Typically you might be in 7th at the point of going into that corner. Down the hill now, turn 12, 13, and 14. Coming up now, trying to hug the inside at turn 13 here. Kind of a banked corner almost. Then on exit at turn 14. Be wary of the pit entry right there. That wall kind of really juts out at you. Mitch Burns actually taking that corner up in 5th gear. I would usually go down to about 3rd or 4th. And Mitch Burns does it fast lap of 1:16.4. That I'd actually say is not a bad lap whatsoever. Next across the line looks to be the Mercedes of GSR Ryan Rods, who does put that pole. Aero Racing Design, he has started his timed lap here. Let's go along with him as Mitch Burns goes second. Ooh, Edwin's gone off, and this is going out of turn number 3. So I guess the triumphs and tribulations with this corner here still not quite figured out, and that by the Mercedes driver then, as Dace now puts his lap third along with Aero Racing Design as he heads up the hill. Purple sector 1 for him so far. And did he invalidate that? It didn't quite look like he did, and now a Ferrari has gone off. That's Jonathan Dunk coming out of turn number 8 then. Quite an odd place to go off, and Matt Rossi now setting the fastest lap, and yep, the Ferrari has just kind of done it in there. The more you stiffen that, the less rotation obviously that the car gets, and therefore you're not able to take that corner any better, as Ryan Rods now goes provisional pole, 1:15.8, as we're along with Dace here, starting his time lap. Rear wing open, DRS activated on the Ferrari, 12 miles an hour extra speed from the rear wing flap down into turn number 2, from 7th gear down to about 3rd. Now trickling back up through the gears, holds it through turn 3 nicely, back up the hill now. Let's see how he handles this tricky turn 4. Does it nicely then. That was one of the smoother approaches to that corner I've seen so far today, although his trip through turn 5 looked maybe a little wider than I would have appreciated. Through 6 and 7 now is holding it really well, Dace. I tell you what, this lap may contend for the top couple of spots here. I'm not even lying to you. This looks a brilliant lap so far. I have yet to spot a legitimate mistake. And until then, nope, but it's still purple sector 2 anyways. He's gone wide on exit, but turn 11 he has, but track extended didn't invalidate his lap. And now then set purple sector 2. I tell you what, this could be a lap that contends for the top 2 spots. Let's see what happens. Coming out of turn 14 now, Dace to the line. Does he get it? Oh, and he only leaps 1 position, but mind you, is 4 1/1000ths of a second off of that of Scornsy, so not far back whatsoever. Meanwhile, Matt Rossi in the Red Bull making his way now out of turn 11. This will be looking to do good so far. Really was the story of just getting caught up in other people's messes that really hindered him. He'll be looking to bounce back today, because even in these leagues where you have different drivers, or shall I say leagues where the same drivers in different leagues, that momentum does eventually start to stack up, albeit he did place 2nd in the F2 race at Abu Dhabi this past Tuesday. He'll be looking for a better result here in Division 1. Scornsy up to the line now, down into turn 2. Let's see what he's got. Really, really hugging that inside curb through that 2nd corner. It looks to be, as of now, yet he's 3 1/100ths better than his previous attempt. Purple sector 1 it is. Mind you, he's only 0.2 of a second off provisional pole. Ryan Rods, however, now starting another attempt. Matt Rossi in the pits with 6.5 minutes to go. Looks like we got a car off. That looks like the Williams of Aero Racing. No, his teammates of Tiger NASCAR has given a good spin through the grass. Then Scornsy, 3 1/100ths, actually 2/10ths better through the 2nd sector. So now, purple sector 2 here for Scornsy, making his way into turns 12, 13, and 14. Looks to be on a really competitive lap. Let's see what he's got as he makes his way through the final corner of the Hungaroring. It looks to be a great one indeed. DRS open, to the line he goes, and it is provisional pole by 4 1/100ths of a second over GSR Ryan Rods. That was a great lap. Ryan Rods now starting his timed attempt. Let's see what he's got in the Mercedes. Down, heading towards the first corner. Currently the only one, and he was on a timed attempt. Oh, and he spun it. And the DHL sign has collected some carbon fiber off the front of the Ferrari, and that, unfortunately, is going to do in any future time lap attempt that he's got. The Alpha Tauri of, I believe, Mitch Burns can only manage 6th. To the line now, the other Aston Martin of Scavney, he's 7th. The Red Bull of Cake Thomas, he can only manage 13th. Scornsy rounding the final corner now. I tell you what, this one looks to be much better. To the line he goes. Can he keep it within the 114s? It's a 1:15.6. Ryan Rods has spun it coming out of the final corner. Oh, and he was 2/10ths faster throughout Sector 2 on that last lap, and that has probably locked up pole position then for Scornsy, as Matt Rossi has just, not only is he quite slow, he's also invalidated that sector. Dace has also gone around, so Scornsy looks like he has just wrapped up pole position unless anyone else. So, essentially, it's Monaco without walls. 10 seconds until the lights start turning on, and I tell you what, we are in for a good one here, Division 1, for round number 2 of Season 7. Let's see what they've got as drivers forming on the grid. The lights are turning on now. We have 4, then 5, and then pause, and they're off. And it looks like Scornsy got a pretty okay start. Ryan Rods did not, however, get an okay start, and he's starting to fall back a little bit. And it looks like everybody kind of spread out towards the back. Going down to the first corner, the Williams of Aero Racing Design trying to eke his way into the top 3 then. And it looks like side by side there with Matt Rosie doesn't quite look like much as unbelievably happened. We do have an AlphaTauri off towards the back into the grass of multiple cars abreast back then. Very, very close quarters indeed in this mid to tail end of the field, and it looks like maybe some carbon fiber being eked out there. Maybe it's a bug on my screen. Mitch Burns has something has happened with him, as it looks like he's starting to fall back side by side. Then goes Impossible Bacon and Tiger NASCAR through that 4th corner. That certainly wasn't safe. GSR Edgar, he wants it around the outside now. He's going to have to switch back, and it looks like in behind Smith Pell, can he perhaps find a move? Look at that, the Williams down into the side of the Aston Martin. That was Tiger NASCAR, wanted it to the inside going into the chicane, and he pushed Impossible Bacon off track. And that, my friends, was not a good way to do that move. And it looks like, thankfully, no damage was accumulated, however. But Scornsy has eked himself out, as it looks like Aero Racing Design starting to fall back now. Maybe some contact off towards the back. Does anyone have wing damage to worry about here as the rain is falling here in Hungary? And it doesn't look like for now. Ooh, text-to-speech getting around Edwin here. It's actually side by side, then contact being made. The McLaren is forced off track. Down deep into the corner is text-to-speech as they work their way through, and it looks like for now, I mean, it's still unclear who's going to have this advantage. The Mercedes down to the inside is going to be blocked off by the Alfa Romeo in front of him, but it looks like for now, can text-to-speech find his way around this Mercedes? Doesn't look like he will be able to. Battery being used now. Up the field we go. Edgar and Tiger NASCAR were swapping positions then momentarily. Down back into the first corner. Who's going to make any sort of dive in? It doesn't look like anything's happening now except for Edwin down to the inside of the Alfa Romeo of Killer XL. Once again, the driver is battling, pushing him off track just slightly. I'm not sure if it's aggressive driving or maybe still trying to get to terms with the circuit. Going to look to the inside now of Kitten Petter, going through that corner. That's just not the best place to overtake. That's all there is to it. As the drivers file their way up through the hill into Sector 2 now, it looks like towards the back, text-to-speech and Jonathan Dunk side by side. We do have a car that's gone off, and that is the AlphaTauri of Kitten Petter, who doesn't look to have wing damage. However, that's not gone to plan for him. And it looks like now everybody, at least within the top 10, has decided to calm themselves down. Let's take a quick look at the Aston Martin of Impossible Bacon. Doesn't look like he has any wing damage from his early contact there with Tiger NASCAR at the time, although he's got Aero Racing Design in hot pursuit as they exit the 11th corner. Or actually outside of the top 10, really, as Scornsy sets the fastest lap. 3.2 seconds the gap now. Kate Thomas and GSR Edwin battling it out here. The Red Bull getting around the Mercedes, but the Mercedes looking to strike back here. To the inside he goes, heading down towards turn 1. You can see the rain still falling for now, so it looks like at least this first half of the race is going to be wet. Towards the back, Jonathan Dunk looks to the inside of Killer XL for the position there. A little bit of switchback. Could that perhaps take place there? GSR Edwin got the spot. It looks like Jonathan Dunk did get around Killer XL then. But, and now he's going to look to the inside of Mitch Burns. Can he go get 2 within the span of a couple corners, side by side still? Yeah, and he is going to get it. Maybe a little bit of contact there, but nothing to be worried about, it seems. Find a way around that Aston Martin as they exit the 14th corner. He's going to look to the outside, let Bacon float up the track. He's actually going to get back in line with him. I was expecting a move down to the inside then. Didn't quite make it happen. Battery being used then for the Williams. 83 of it left to be exact. He's going to look down to the inside. Impossible Bacon is going to look to push him low. It's going to be side by side into that first corner. Contact, is it made? The answer is no. It's still side by side. Then great racing this is. Aero Racing Design is going to stick along that outside lane. Impossible Bacon then going to come up the track and choose to cut him off. That was probably a good decision then. GSR Edgar, suddenly he has been, I believe, pushed out wide perhaps of Smith Pell then, who now is into this battle along with Aero Racing Design. That battle between Smith Pell and Edgar was within a 10th not long ago, and then suddenly Edgar was out really wide. So perhaps a report to be made there. I'm not quite sure. Perhaps was it just a mistake then from the Alpine driver? We'll have to wait and see. Perhaps we could have some clarity with about 10 laps time. Scavney now, he's within 5/10 on Dace, exiting that final corner. We'll see what he's got in a minute, but it's GSR Edwin and Tiger NASCAR side by side here. Looking now, the Mercedes round the outside, and he does have that move done nicely. Tiger NASCAR was completely at the mercy then of Edwin, and Edwin chose to take the spot. Beautifully done then from the Mercedes, but I hate to say that position still up for grabs. It looks like Cake Thomas to the inside then of Tiger NASCAR. Tiger NASCAR's made somewhat of a mistake then, as now he's also under pressure from the Ferrari. That's 2 positions lost, 3 positions lost as he goes as the Ferrari of Jonathan Dunk goes down to the inside. 3 positions lost within just a short amount of time there. I would say 3 positions. It's not necessarily there yet, as Jonathan Dunk was looking for the spot. Now into the gearbox for the Williams then. Quick battle up here. Scavney still looking to get around. Dace doesn't quite have it yet. The Ferrari of Jonathan Dunk looking to the inside of Tiger NASCAR. Does he have it? Oh, I think he just might. His camera angle kind of lagging behind, and he does. Nicely done then from the Ferrari. Oh, it looks like Edwin's been forced up track there just a little bit as Kittenpetter 5-second penalty speeding into the pit lane. Interesting to see what will be happening with him, and he decides to retire from the session, unfortunately. 0.2 of a second this battle here for the 10th spot. Looks like up the field a little bit more. Ooh, it looks as if Matt Rosie, or either that or Ryan Rods, has made a mistake, as just a lap ago, it was a 6.2 second gap from Scornsey to Ryan Rods. Now it's a 7.3 second gap. So, somewhere on this circuit, GSR Ryan Rods is struggling with this car, and it's opening the door for Matt Rosie and Jacko. However, given the conditions, the overtake hasn't been made just yet. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out. Less than 0.2 now between GSR Edwin and GSR Edgar. Oh boy, that's going to be fun to remember that one is. Probably going to be looking for it on the pit straight. Starting the 9th lap of the Grand Prix now. Elma Jacko within a second of Matt Rosie here. Doesn't look like that move is going to be able to be made anytime soon. GSR Edwin still looking to hunt down the Alpine of Edgar. Lots of battles been happening within this second half of the field here, and it's quite not over yet. Really slow through the corner then as Edgar, maybe some contact being made. Edwin wasn't able to make an overtake happen. Looks like Mitch Burns and Tiger NASCAR going at it here. It looks like text-to-speech is in on this as well. He's got a great view of the battle. The AlphaTauri down to the inside then of the Williams Tiger NASCAR. Tiger NASCAR has not had himself a good day. He's been losing spots left and right. Unfortunately, it is. Into the 4th corner they go. Tiger NASCAR then picking up 3 seconds of multiple warnings. The AlphaTauri of Mitch Burns went wide. Text-to-speech now looks to the inside of the Williams of Tiger NASCAR. Into turn 6 and 7. Don't make that move, and he almost did. But chose not to at the very last second. That was almost disastrous then for the McLaren. Very tight battling this is through here. Meanwhile, Matt Rosie now within 0.7 of a second on the Mercedes in front of him. As we start the 10th lap of the Grand Prix. Where is Matt Rosie not being able to make this overtake happen? He's gaining this time somewhere, but just hasn't been able to make anything happen. Edwin and Edgar now within 0.2 of a second once again. Let's see if the Mercedes can get around the Alpine here. He's going to look for it around the left side. Edgar covering off the move nicely. Eventually the DRS section, Tiger NASCAR into the pits he goes. No DRS to be had. Still in the wet here. Ooh, Edgar went quite deep into that corner. He may have opened it up there. It looks like Cake Thomas really got towards Jonathan Dunk then, but just ran out of real estate to make the move happen. Down into the 3rd corner now. 2nd corner this is actually. Edgar still trying to get around Edwin. Hasn't been able. Edwin trying to get around Edgar. Still hasn't been able to make that move happen. There's not been any sort of window to make it happen. I'm assuming most of these overtakes are going to happen in the dry. But for now, it remains raining. Going to look to the outside. Ooh, bit of oversteer then off the 5th corner. Holds onto it nicely, however. Now, Racing Design, he's within 0.4 on Impossible Bacon. Ahead of him, Scavney still trying to hunt down Dace up there. And that being for the 5th spot. Scoresy setting the fastest lap of 1:29.1. Oh, it looks like down to the inside goes the Mercedes. Contact with the Alpine then. Somehow, some way, Neither of them went off track, but that was as close to an overtake as we had with these two, and it's gone nearly up in flames. As now Jonathan Dunk, he's going to look to the outside here. Nothing to be had. Who gets the better exit of turn 14? That's who's going to get the spot. And look, oh, and Edwin has lost the car somehow. Has really spun it around. We could be looking at a virtual safety car with how much debris is actually on the circuit then. He's lost the entirety of the front wing. And no, it's no virtual safety car then. I don't think any contact was made back with there with Jonathan Dunk. I think he's just genuinely lost it on exit of the corner, which we saw his teammate of Ryan Rod's do in qualifying in the dry conditions. No wing damage on the front of the Ferrari. We'll have to assume that Edwin has lost the car on his own terms. Unfortunate, but reality. Oh, it looks like ahead. Can Cake Thomas find his way around Edgar? He's going to look for it. Doesn't quite have it yet. Text-to-speech still looking to get around Mitch Burns. He's going to go down to the inside. Mitch Burns round the outside. Can he somehow keep on to the spot? Dace picking up 3 seconds of multiple warnings. Puts him up to 3 seconds. He's got Scavney in hot pursuit as well. That's not gone well for him. And it looks like Text-to-speech has been able to overtake the AlphaTauri then. Great move that. If you're a fan of the F2 series, you'll know that Jonathan Dunk has been on quite a roll. Had a little bit of an incident with A-Dub last week. Oh, he had a car go off somewhere. It looks like the Mercedes of Edwin. Jonathan Dunk has been a real competitor in that series so far, albeit it's only been 2 races, but he looks like he is emerging as a championship favorite, potentially. Going through turn 14 now, Smith Pell's gone really wide then. Jonathan Dunk is going to look to the inside. Battery being used here. It looks like Smith Pell ahead of him also using it. Let's see if Jonathan Dunk can make something happen down in the corner. He's going to switch down to the inside, and it looks like that move nicely made then. A little bit further back, text-to-speech, can he find a way to the inside of Cake Thomas? He is going to look for it. He is still alongside him here as they head down into the second corner. Round the outside then looks text-to-speech. Can he find it? Still looking for it. Doesn't quite have it yet. I think he finally just made the spot. Nicely done then from the McLaren. Round the outside he went. It looks like now all those at the top of the grid still also starting to spread out even more. Matt Rosie not within striking distance on Ryan Rods anymore. Jacko is actually now within strike. Oh, something's happened here with Matt Rosie. He's made quite the mistake, and Jacko's moved up to third. And this is what we were talking about with Matt Rosie. Does he have that mental fortitude on these long runs? Because he has been... We have seen him make mistakes like this before, where he's just out to a clear lead, gets caught out by something, and then loses a spot. And that's exactly what's happened, because he was outside of a second and a half nearly on Jacko, and then suddenly he's just lost a spot. That puts him down to fourth. Not quite sure what's happened there with the Red Bull, but I'm sure he won't be happy there. And unfortunately, you have to really have a short-term memory, as it looks like Edgar is on his way into the pits. Maybe a bit of a slow stop then for the Ferrari. Didn't look too comfortable in that part's for sure. Racing Design within 2/10 now on J-Cass. Can he find his move down to the inside? I think he was looking for it there temporarily, but didn't quite have the room to make it happen. Although I can tell you what, he's got a much better exit at turn number 1. So perhaps can he make it going through 2? Have to wait and see. The Haas really riding the inside there. So is the Williams. Doesn't look like any move to be made here unless can he make it going through turn 4. He's going to go around the outside here. That's a bit bold. Going into turn 4, and that was actually a beautifully made maneuver there from Aero Racing Design. Nicely done. Elma Jacko within 5/10 here on Matt Rosie. Now this has really been the battle to watch. Both of these drivers have made their stops already. Matt Rosie, mind you, does have the 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings that he has accumulated. But I don't expect that to stop Jacko from trying. Still waiting for Scavney and Dace to come in. Still doesn't look like it's going to happen. I believe next time by is really going to be when that move gets made. Close battling going on back. Jonathan Dunk going to look to the outside of Impossible Bacon. He's then going to look down to the inside, looking for that left rear tire. Impossible Bacon's going to go quite wide through the corner then, and yeah, Jonathan Dunk still hanging right there with it, still on the outside going through turn 14, takes Impossible Bacon. Nicely done maneuver then. However, Impossible Bacon files right back in line then. Battery being used then for the Aston Martin. So this one's not over yet. He's going to look to the outside here of the Ferrari. Jonathan Dunk wanted to cover off the move to the inside, did just that. That has really hindered Impossible's progress here. Not far behind either is Tiger NASCAR, and Jonathan Dunk also looking to get towards the Haas of JCast here as well. A little bit of mixing about going on back there. Looks like to the inside goes Edgar on Killer XL. Still looking for her there as they go to the third corner. Down to the inside now, kind of looked Edgar. Didn't really, I don't think, had not brain enough to try that move considering how far back he was. Jonathan Dunk 3/10 within on the Haas. He's going to look to the inside going through turn 8. That's a bit bold. We haven't seen that one yet today, and he almost made it pay off, but the Haas was able to close off the move. The Haas, by the way, has yet to stop as well. Down to the inside now looks Jonathan Dunk. Can he find his way around the Haas? He's got Impossible Bacon in hot pursuit as well. The rain still falling here. The Ferrari way deep down to the inside, but he does make that move happen. Nicely done then to make that move past the Haas of JCast, and that has made things even trickier for Impossible Bacon. Up through the field we look now. It looks as if Matt Rosie and Jacko still looking to battle it out here. Matt Rosie within 6/10 on Scavney. Ooh, Scavney's gone quite wide then. That almost opened the door for Matt Rosie, but it just didn't have enough room to make it happen. Looks like Impossible Bacon now, he's within about 1/10 on the Haas of JCast here. He's going to look for it. Oh, Impossible Bacon's not had a good maneuver there through turn 1. Catches the car, keeps it off the barriers, but he's then lost 2 spots in the process, and I'm sure he'll be thankful that that car didn't end up in the barriers. As I tell you what, he got really heavy coming out of the curb on turn number 1. Ooh, losing the car almost again just then. He's going to really have to tiptoe his way around the circuit for at least this next lap. Into the chicane he goes, still looking for any sort of opening he can find. And he unfortunately just doesn't have one. Meanwhile, Impossible Bacon has worked his way back into this battle here as well. Impossible Bacon a couple laps ago had a little bit of a slip going through turn 1. Nearly lost the car, nearly lost it in the barriers. But meanwhile, Matt Rosie and Jacko side by side, and it looks like Matt Rosie has kept the position for now. Majacko is now going to be looking to the left-hand side of that Red Bull. The text-to-speech, his teammate in behind as well. Majacko looking for around the outside. Contact almost being made then, still side by side between these two, and Majacko working his way up to what I believe will eventually be that third position. Oh, but Majacko's actually slipped out quite wide then, going through the second corner. Does Matt Rosie have enough to strike back? And the answer, unfortunately, is going to be no. In fact, that has opened the door for text-to-speech to make a move whenever he feels it's convenient. Slew of drivers heading through the first couple of corners now. This is from Dace on back to text-to-speech, it appears. Text-to-speech looking to get past Matt Rosie here. Matt Rosie's got a 3-second penalty to worry about. It looks like Smith, Pell, and JCast side by side. It looks like the Alfa Romeo now looking to the outside on the Haas. Both Alfa Romeos looking to overtake the Haas here. Contact forces Killer XL wide. Nothing to be made yet, and then finally it looks as if Killer XL has made that move and made it permanently as well. Yep, that sure looks to be the case. Text-to-speech within 3/10 on Matt Rosie then. El Majacko within 5/10 on Scavney. Dace starting to pull away from Scavney actually as well. Lap 28 beginning now. Scornsey has, I believe, led every single lap of this Grand Prix. I believe it's actually going to be a Grand Slam if he's got that fastest lap, which he does. So he's led every lap of the race. He started on pole. For now, he's winning it. I think a Grand Slam is in order here for Scornsey. El Majacko looking to get past Scavney here in the Aston Martin. Doesn't look like anything's going to be made yet. This will be a good battle for that 4th spot when it does happen. The rain has refused to give way any. It's been a very rainy and miserable day here in Magyarod. Looks like text-to-speech wants towards the inside of Matt Rosie. That doesn't quite happen. Oh, we have a yellow flag off somewhere. Oh, we've got an Alfa Romeo that's gone off. That is Smith Pell, who's, I believe, spun it round into the barriers. And I believe that was actually also in front of the leaders. No, it wasn't, but darn, that did get close. Smith Pell, how much damage does he have? That actually doesn't look that bad. Scornsy now still on pace for that Grand Slam. Remember, he's got that penalty anyways. He doesn't really need to try too hard to lose more positions, does he? Looks like Aero Racing Design trying to take it around the right side of Kate Thomas then switching back to the inside. This is a great battle here. This is for P9. Williams around the outside. Does he hold on to it? Oh, I believe he will. Nicely done then from Aero Racing Design. I tell you what, he's put on a couple of moves today. He has. Ooh, a bit of a wiggle there for him. Keeps it under control. Jonathan Dunk also wants in on this battle. Currently only 3/10 off of Kate Thomas. Still looking for it as the Ferrari. He's going to get to the gearbox of the Red Bull. Down to the inside, slides across the curb, and somehow keeps the car together. Great save then from the Ferrari. Speaking of Red Bulls almost being overtaken, text-to-speech looking to get around Matt Rossi here. Only 0.3 of a second the gap, but text-to-speech a bit slow going through that turn 14. Doesn't quite have the area to make it happen. I tell you what. Oh, goes really deep then into the corner. Matt Rossi in behind El Majaco. Contact being made on the left rear. No, that is the right rear tire. And now that's opening the door for text-to-speech. Can he find his way around the left side of the Red Bull here? Late on the brakes goes the McLaren. Looks for it around the outside. Looks to be switching back to the inside. Oh, he's going to tuck it in line. As it looks like Jonathan Dunk getting around Mitch Burns just then. Nicely done there. But can text-to-speech find his way around Matt Rossi? Really, really looking for it. Oh, contact to the back of the Red Bull. Contact again. That was almost dangerous then. Majaco within 0.3 on Scavney for that 4th spot. Text-to-speech within 0.5 on Rossi for the 6th spot. Really great day for McLaren it'll be, if said result holds. We do have a yellow flag somewhere that's going through Sector 2. Who can it be? And whatever it was, it's resolved itself rather quickly. So it looks then like the Alpine of Scornsy starting the final lap of the Grand Prix. It's been all up to him all day long. He got a great launch off the start, and well, that's all there was to be said about that. You got a great one. Ooh, Jacko down on the inside on Scavney. Do they keep it? Wheel-to-wheel contact. Nearly spitting out of control goes both drivers. Still contact then. Scavney to the left rear tire of Jacko. Gets into the Red Bull of Matt Rossi, and he's lost several positions on that. Wing damage then. And I don't know if that was perhaps retaliation or what, but Scavney really then dug in to the left rear tire of Jacko, who's forced him down back to P7. He's also, I believe, given wing damage to Matt Rossi. Man, oh man, is Jacko getting around his teammate at text-to-speech here. But nope, text-to-speech actually getting around Jacko, it seems. Either way, Jacko back down to the inside. We do know that Jacko has wing damage. It doesn't seem like anyone else does, however. Really interesting turn of events then, but Scornsy making his way through the final, into the penultimate corner now. Turn 13 and then 14. It's been all up to him. When he rounds this final corner, he'll write his name into the history books. Assuming he does have the fastest lap, which he does, it will be a grand slam for Scornsy, taking the win here in Hungary. A brilliant day for the Alpine driver. One he will surely not forget anytime soon. As it looks, Matt Rossi, can he find his way past Scavney here? Doesn't look like he's going to be able to make the move for now, although he's got another 2 corners to make it happen. He's going to look to the right side. Nothing to be had yet. Heavy on the curb. It looks like Jonathan Dunk and Aero Racing Design battling it out for the 8th spot here. And it looks like this is quite a good battle here. Side by side still. Ooh, and Jonathan Dunk, I think, is going to walk away with that position, which he does. Text-to-speech. Finding P5, Jacko P6, the biggest really round of applause of the day goes to both Dace and Scavney. Neither driver stopped for tires. In fact, none of those who were from 3rd, 4th, and 5th stopped for tires whatsoever. Dace, Scavney, text-to-speech, none of them stopped. All of them made it to the end. It was a great day, and they fully deserve that 3rd, 4th, and 5th finish that they are getting. So after it's all said and done here in Hungary, it's Scornsey with the Grand Slam win. GSR Ryan Rods gave it all he could. He finished 2nd, Dace in 3rd, Scavney 4th, text-to-speech 5th. None of those 3 pit for tires that entire race. El Majacko 6th, Matt Rosie 7th, Jonathan Dunk 8th, Aero Racing Design 9th, 10th is Mitch Burns, 11th Cake Thomas, 12th is Killer XL, 13th 9th Tiger NASCAR, 14th is Jake Haas, 15th Impossible Bacon, 16th Smith Hell, 17th GSR Edgar, 18th GSR Edwin, and rounding out the field, unfortunately did not finish the race, P19 is Kitten Petter. And next week, Midwest F1 returns for what is essentially the best tradition in all of the league. We head to Canada next week, and if it's anything like that race, we will be certainly in for a good one. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next week.